6 degrees of separation, that theory that anyone on the planet can be connected to anyone else by a maximum of 5 intermediaries. 6 degrees of pixelation, pretty much the same thing, really, except for the word pixels. And I'm not just sticking with human intermediaries in this video. I'm going to map these connections using shared technologies, coincidences, maybe even just physical proximity as a tangible enough adhesive. And sure, I'll use some personal relationships to connect a few dots, but I don't just want to give you a list of people who have shaken hands. Sure, I could connect Nolan Bushnell, the founder of Atari, to journalist Sonia Medevsky, but that's not fun. However, I'll do it quickly just to prove a point and to illustrate the 6 degrees of separation idea. So Nolan Bushnell worked with Steve Jobs at Atari. Steve Jobs let Bill Clinton use his house in 1998. Bill Clinton played saxophone for Arsenio Hall on the Arsenio Hall show, and Arsenio Hall produced a hip-hop album with Paula Abdul. Paula Abdul was married to Emilio Estevez, and Emilio Estevez has been engaged to journalist Sonia Medevsky for 9 years. See, I can do it. That was just boring. So how about instead I connect Nolan Bushnell to Batboy? Huh? That'll be fun. I just realized there's a bookmark in this, implying that I have, in fact, read it. Not only read it, but read it with such intrigue that I didn't want to lose my place. You know, what can I say? So strap in as I throw a social theory veneer over a video game and culture trivia info dump with this first installment of 6 Degrees of Pixelation. Nolan Bushnell, dear, sweet founder of Atari, the video game system that's often credited / blamed for the introduction / removal of video games to / from a wider audience. Sorry, that was a bit cumbersome. Credited because Atari's first product, Pong, changed gaming forever. Blamed because Atari's later product, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, helped stop video games. Temporarily, though, to be sure. But I'd argue without the demise of Atari, Nintendo of America would never have been so successful. Many publishers may still have continued to saturate the market with shovelware, had Atari never been in the position to shovel their own wares into an Alamogordo desert. But ching. Sure, Atari didn't grab America by the D-pad quite the way Nintendo of America would in 1983, but its impact to home console gaming cannot be ignored. Lesser known is that in addition to Atari, Nolan Bushnell was also the brains behind Chuck E. Cheese. Chuck E. Cheese, the namesake and mascot and mouse behind America's #1 stop for terrible pizza, sticky joystick video games, and child predators looking for ways to subvert the high-tech stamp technology that's been thwarting them for years. He wasn't always a mouse. Earlier in his animatronic career, Chuck E. Cheese was a cigar-smoking rat from New Jersey. That was before we as a society collectively agreed to care about the lung health of cartoons. But even predating the cancer rat, our beloved mouse was meant to be a coyote, or a coyote. Nolan Bushnell, during an IAAPA trade show, originally purchased a generic Damn it. Nolan Bushnell, during an IAAP trade show, originally purchased a generic coyote mascot character costume. Once the costume arrived back at Atari, Bushnell's engineers, displaying the level of intelligence implied by the engineer title, realized that what had been delivered was not a coyote costume, but a rat costume. Apparently the giant pink tail gave it away. Bushnell went along with the mistake, and Chuck E. Cheese was born. This isn't the only instance of a video game delivery mishap having lasting impacts, however. Squeak, a cutesy puzzle game ported to the Amstrad CPC and distributed by US Gold in 1989, contained one of the most non-cutesy bits of audio ever released in a game at that time. Upon completing a level, the cutesy Squeak would say, "Fuck your mother." Why? Well, I suspect it was a hilarious marketing ploy, but Lornette Arditi, co-creator of the Squeak games, states that a development version of the game was leaked as the final production version, meaning the offensive version was never actually meant to be distributed beyond the rambunctious realm of 2 college student game developers. Now, this context of college student game developers should explain why the "Fuck Your Mother" audio clip was included in the code at all. Even back then, students were constantly waffling the line between immature child and fully realized adult. In hindsight, "Fuck Your Mother" isn't even that obscene. especially considering that fuck your mother is practically a polite greeting contrasted against today's video games.
Goddamn cock breath coming, motherfuckers!
But swearing was not reserved for only this one fuzzy cartoon character, however. Hubert would swear, but he used a pattern of unpronounceable symbols. I assume so that young, impressionable minds could wander. Almost everyone alive today associates these unpronounceable symbols with profanity. It's the same association we have with 555 phone numbers being a stand-in for active phone numbers, and X's on cartoon jugs saying broadly, "This crow knows how to party." These are warning signs. Certain elements of reality aren't allowed beyond this point. And after enough assimilation into the world of reality stand-ins like these, the fourth wall sort of melts away. We don't even think about the 555 phone number anymore. We don't judge that cartoon crow for drinking. And we don't hate Hubert for swearing when he falls off the untethered pixel pyramid to his death. In fact, I think he's being surprisingly restrained considering some twisted god put him on a floating platform full of predators. Go ahead, Hubert. Take a lesson from Squeak and just let it out.
Fuck your mother.
While the debate is out as to what these unpronounceable symbols should be called, some say profanotype, others obscenicons, and for some reason that doesn't adhere to the obvious descriptor plus suffix pattern of the previous two, growlixies. Growlixies. I don't know. Growler plus galaxies, I guess? I mean, a universe full of beer could lead to some swearing. Not as much swearing as a universe without beer, though, I assure you. The earliest known use of whatever that thing is called dates back to a 1902 comic strip by Rudolf Dirks. Yes, 1902, back when comic strips were objectively unfunny. Look, I know context is everything, but unless the early 1900s were full of shower curtains and sailors, I'm not sure how this thing could possibly be funny. You know what it needs? Memes. Ermagerd! Derm shirt! Rudolf Dirks became a cartoonist for Joseph Pulitzer's New York World beginning in 1912 after a successful stint as the cartoonist for rival newspaper, the New York Journal. Now, during Dirks' New York World career, the newspaper would become entangled in legal battles with Dirks' ex. This feud eventually contributed to the source of the term yellow journalism, due to a cartoon called The Yellow Kid being a central component of the feud. This legal battle also unfortunately contributed to yellow journalism's modern derivative, clickbait. See, it's not just our modern short attention span that's responsible for the rampant use of catchy yet misleading headlines. It's been happening since you wouldn't believe when. Except I just told you when. I'm not good at clickbait, guys. An entire modern genre of yellow journalism still exists outside of the aforementioned clickbait tactic. Tabloid journalism. You've seen the magazines right next to the gum and chocolate at the grocery store checkout line, beckoning you, suggesting, oh so subtly, that hey, you've done good shopping today. You should reward yourself with tales of alien political advisors and tri-boobed interns, and, of course, Bat Boy! Bat Boy is arguably the most famous tabloid character, having been featured in many stories after his first appearance in a 1992 issue of Weekly World News. Not satisfied with simply being found, Bat Boy would go on to be knighted by Queen Elizabeth, lead U.S. troops to Saddam Hussein, and eventually become President of the United States in 2028. From Nolan Bushnell to Bat Boy in 6 easy, sometimes pixelated steps. This has been 6 Degrees of Pixelation. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. I'm deciding whether or not I want to make a series about this, so the more positive feedback I get, the more likely it is to happen. I need that external validation, so sue me. You'll also find a link in the description below that leads to a Google Doc that has my script and my notes and any resources and stuff that I've used so that you can dig in should you want to. And don't forget to subscribe. I may do more trivia videos like this, but I do currently do Let's Plays, and I do some think pieces on video games as well. And think pieces are my favorite, to be honest, but they take a little bit more time, so I fill the otherwise empty days of the week with the aforementioned video types. And until next time, I'm Caleb, this is Bat Boy, and we are burning books.